I've mentioned before that I live in zone 9B, so I have pretty mild weather year round. And it's August right now, and so we have a little bit over a month left of summer, but a lot of my friends who live in different zones have already started planting their fall and winter gardens, and some have already started sowing their seeds. So you might be wondering, when should you start your seeds for your fall and winter garden?
The simple answer is it really depends on what your first frost date is. While typically your fall seedlings are going to be the plants that can handle colder weather, can handle frost, and thrive in frost, pretty much every seed still needs a bit of warmth to germinate and get started. So if you plan to start your seeds indoors where it's typically going to be warmer, you don't want to start your seeds too soon. But if you're starting seeds outside, you still want there to be enough warm days for the seeds to germinate. You can find your estimated first frost date by going to www.almanac.com and enter your zip code or your city, and it will give you an estimated first frost date as well as your estimated last day of frost. Is it exact? No, but it can give you a good general idea. Going back to when you should start your seeds for fall and winter, let's just say you unfortunately live in a very low zone and maybe your first frost date is in October. You'd probably want to start those seeds in August so that they have enough time in warmer weather to germinate and for the seedlings to get strong enough to keep growing through the fall and winter. But if you live in a warmer climate, you don't want to start your seeds too early because then you risk your seedlings bolting before they even mature. For me personally, I will not be starting any of my fall or winter seeds until the temperatures drop below 80 degrees Fahrenheit or maybe even below 75 degrees. And that might not even be for a while because our fall temperatures can still be pretty high. And if things like leafy greens or radishes bolt too easily when it's warm, even for just a couple of days, that means that it's just a waste of my time and resources if I start my seeds too early. Your seed packets should also tell you what temperature is needed for your seeds to germinate, and if they are a really good seed company, they'll tell you how many weeks before your first frost date the seeds should be sown.
So maybe you watched this video because you were hoping for an exact answer. However, I feel like there is no exact answer. When people live in different zones, they're going to need to start their seeds at different times. So when I see other people making blog posts or videos telling just everybody to start their fall and winter seeds in August, I feel like that's bad advice, especially for people like me who live in a warmer climate. If I were to follow that advice, everything I sow now would probably bolt by the end of the month or by September. My climate here is so mild that I have had sunflowers bloom on Christmas, all of my pepper plants have overwintered in place with no coverings, and I have also had 2 tomato plants overwinter, which is kind of odd, but they survived the winter and they're producing really well right now. So when you live in a different growing zone, you have to take into account a couple of different factors.
And as you can see here, my first frost date is supposed to be December 9th, but even if we are supposed to get frost, it's usually a very light frost. So I really have no business starting my fall or winter seeds any sooner than maybe the end of October, maybe even as late as November.
So there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes a lot of that information is general information. So I really suggest looking at your forecast, reading your seed packets, and making your best judgment for when you should start your seeds.